Professor Taho Kim stood at the viewing window of the transport ship. His eyes were wide as he took in the sight of the Galactic Research Academy. The massive structure floated in space, its many wings spreading out like a silver flower. Taho had never seen anything so beautiful. "First time seeing the academy?" asked the pilot. His skin was blue, and he had 4 eyes, but his smile was friendly. "Yes," Taho said. "First human ever to teach here." The pilot nodded. "Big honor. Good luck, Professor." Taho grabbed his bags as the ship docked. His heart beat fast in his chest. After years of studying alien life forms from Earth, he would finally work with real aliens. He was the first human professor in the exchange program. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Taho stepped out into a large hall. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved around. Some had many legs. Others floated above the ground. Some were covered in scales or fur. A tall, thin alien with gray skin approached him. "Professor Kim, I am Professor Zelnak. Welcome to the academy." Taho bowed slightly. "Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here." "Yes, well, follow me. I will show you to your quarters." As they walked through the halls, Taho noticed how other aliens stopped to stare at him. Some whispered to each other. Others moved away quickly. "Is something wrong?" he asked Zelnak. "Humans are new to us," Zelnak said. "Many have never seen one before." They reached a small room with a bed, desk, and bathroom. It looked almost like a hotel room on Earth, except everything was slightly too tall for Taho. "You will start teaching tomorrow," Zelnak said. "Your lab is down the hall. Do not touch anything without asking first." After Zelnak left, Taho sat on his bed feeling alone. Earth seemed very far away now. A knock on his door surprised him. When he opened it, he saw a human woman standing there. "Hi, I'm Juwoo Park," she said with a big smile. "I heard another human arrived today. I work in maintenance here." Taho felt relief wash over him. "Nice to meet you. I'm Taho Kim, the new professor." "Great. Want a tour from someone who knows where all the good food is hidden?" Taho laughed. "That would be wonderful." As Juwoo showed him around, she explained things the aliens hadn't told him. "Most of them are nice, but they think we're very fragile," she said. "Watch this." She picked up a heavy toolbox with one hand. Several nearby aliens stopped to watch, their eyes wide. "They're amazed by that?" Taho asked. "Their muscles work differently. What's easy for us seems incredible to them." Juwoo grinned. "It's fun sometimes." Later, in the dining hall, Taho met other faculty members. A jelly-like professor named Glob taught mathematics. A furry creature called Meepo taught alien languages. "What do you study, human?" asked a professor with tentacles for arms. "I study how life forms adapt to their environments," Taho explained. "On Earth, we have creatures that can survive extreme heat, cold, even radiation." "Interesting," said Zelnak, who had joined them. "Tomorrow we have a meeting about a research trip to planet Nexus 7. You might find it educational." The way Zelnak said this made Taho curious. "What's on Nexus 7? The table grew quiet. The aliens looked at each other. "Just a research project," Zelnak said quickly. "Nothing that would interest a human." Taho noticed how the aliens seemed nervous suddenly. "I'd like to learn more about it." Zelnak's 4-fingered hand tightened around his cup. "Of course. But remember, some research is best observed from a distance, especially for less developed species." Juwoo caught Taho's eye across the room and made a face. Clearly, there was something the aliens weren't saying. That night, as Taho prepared for bed, he felt excited. There was a mystery here, something on planet Nexus 7 that the aliens didn't want humans to know about. Well, he said to himself, they invited a human scientist to their academy. They shouldn't be surprised when I start asking questions. He fell asleep wondering what tomorrow would bring. The next morning, Taho walked into a large meeting room. Around a round table sat 12 alien professors. They stopped talking when he entered. "Ah, Professor Kim," said Zelnak. "Please join us." Tahoe sat in the empty chair. It was too big for him, and his feet barely touched the floor. He felt like a child at the adults' table. "We were discussing the Nexus 7 expedition," said a green, plant-like alien. "The last team lost 2 members to the Ravager." Tahoe leaned forward. "The Ravager? What is that?" The room went quiet. The aliens looked at each other. Zelnak cleared his throat. "The Ravager is a predatory life form on Nexus 7. It is very dangerous. 3 research teams have already lost members to it." "But we need to go back," said another alien with 6 eyes. "The mineral compounds in its territory could cure many diseases. Why not just kill this Ravager?" asked Tahoe. The aliens looked shocked. One of them made a strange sound that might have been a laugh. "The Ravager cannot be killed with our current technology," Zelnak explained. "It is too fast, too strong, and too smart. We can only try to avoid it while we collect samples." Tahoe thought for a moment. "On Earth, we have many dangerous predators. Maybe I could help. I'd like to join the expedition." The silence that followed was heavy. The alien professors stared at Tahoe as if he had grown a second head. "That is impossible," said Zelnak firmly. "Your species is too fragile. It would be suicide." "My species has faced predators for thousands of years," Tahoe argued. "We have experience." "The matter is closed," interrupted Zelnak. "You do not have clearance to access Nexus 7 files or join the expedition. This is for your own safety, Professor Kim." After the meeting, Tahoe felt angry. The aliens treated him like a child, not a scientist. In his lab, he tried to access information about Nexus 7 and the Ravager, but his access was blocked. That evening, Ju found him still in his lab. "Bad day?" she asked. "They won't let me join the Nexus 7 expedition," Tahoe explained. "They think humans are too weak." Ju sat on his desk. "The Ravager expedition. That thing has killed like 9 researchers already. You know about it. I fixed the ships that go there. I've heard stories." Ju lowered her voice. "Want to see something? I have maintenance access to most files." Later that night, they sat in Ju's small room. She used her tablet to bypass security. "Here we go," she said. "Footage from the last expedition." The screen showed a team of alien researchers in a forest with purple trees. Suddenly, there was movement in the trees. The camera shook wildly. Tahoe caught glimpses of something large moving with incredible speed. The aliens ran, but one was pulled into the trees with a scream. "That's the Ravager?" asked Tahoe. "Yeah, scary, right?" Ju played more footage. "Look at how it hunts. It circles around, cuts them off from escape routes. It's smart." Tahoe watched closely. "It's not just attacking randomly. It's using hunting patterns. The aliens use all kinds of tech against it. Force fields, stun weapons, cloaking devices. Nothing works." Tahoe pointed at the screen. "Look how it reacts before they make noise. It's like it knows where they are." "How?" "Not sure yet." Tahoe's mind raced. On Earth, some predators use infrasound. Sounds too low for humans to hear. Maybe the Ravager does something similar. Ju looked impressed. "So what now?" "They won't let you near this project." Tahoe watched the footage again. The way the Ravager moved reminded him of big cats on Earth, tigers or lions. The aliens' technology wasn't helping them because they didn't understand predator behavior. "The expedition leaves in 3 days," he said. "Can you get me on that ship?" Ju stared at him. "Are you crazy? You just saw what that thing does to people." "I saw a predator behaving like predators on Earth," Tahoe said. "I might understand it better than they do. And if you're wrong, you die." Tahoe nodded. "Yes. But if I'm right, we could save lives and get those mineral compounds they need." Ju was quiet for a long time. Then she smiled slowly. I know where they store the spare environmental suits, she said, and I know when the security droids change shifts at the loading dock. Taiho grinned. So you'll help me. What's the point of being the only two humans in a fancy space academy if we can't get into some trouble? Juwu laughed. Let's show these aliens what humans can do. For the next 2 days, Tahoe spent every free moment studying the footage of the Ravager. He made notes about its hunting patterns, how it moved, and how it seemed to find its prey. It always knows where they are before they make any noise. He told Juwu as they ate lunch in a quiet corner of the dining hall. I think it can feel their footsteps through the ground. Like elephants on Earth? Asked Juwu. Yes, or maybe it hears sounds we can't hear. Very low sounds. A small alien with purple skin sat down next to them. Hello, humans. I am Duri. I work in biology department. Tahoe smiled at the young alien. Nice to meet you, Duri. I hear you are interested in the Ravager, said Duri quietly. Very dangerous creature. Tahoe looked around to make sure no one was listening. What do you know about it? I am junior scientist, not allowed on expedition, but I study all life forms. Duri's big eyes blinked slowly. Did you know humans are Category 3 prey species in our database? Juwu nearly choked on her food. We're what? Prey species means physically inferior but interesting minds. You persist when should give up. Duri seemed to think this was a compliment. Tahoe tried not to show his anger. And what category is the Ravager? Category 1 Apex Predator. Very smart. Very dangerous. Duri looked at them with concern. You should not go to Nexus 7. Not safe for Category 3 species. After Duri left, Juwu shook her head. Can you believe that? We're classified as prey. It doesn't matter what they think, said Tahoe. What matters is what we can do. That night, they met in Juwu's room to finish their plan. The ship leaves tomorrow at dawn, said Juwu. The cargo is loaded tonight. I changed the maintenance schedule so no one will check the lower storage bay. She showed Tahoe a map of the ship on her tablet. We hide here, behind these boxes. There's an air vent and emergency rations nearby. How long is the trip? Asked Tahoe. About 12 hours. Once we land, we wait until they set up camp, then come out. Tahoe packed a small bag with things he thought might help. A knife, a flashlight, some rope, and a first aid kit. He also took a small device he had made in his lab. What's that? Asked Juwu. Something that might help us with the Ravager, said Tahoe. If I'm right about how it hunts. Later that night, they snuck down to the loading dock. Juwu used her access card to open the doors. The cargo hold of the ship was half full of equipment and supplies. Quick, she whispered. The security droid will be back in 5 minutes. They slipped into the ship and hid behind large boxes at the back of the cargo hold. It was dark and cold. Now we wait, said Tahoe. Hours later, they felt the ship start to move. The engines made a low humming sound. They were on their way to Nexus 7. I hope you're right about the Ravager, whispered Juwu, or we might not come back. On Earth, every predator has a weakness, said Tahoe. We just need to find the Ravager's weakness. And if we don't, then the aliens were right about humans being too fragile. Tahoe smiled in the dark. But I don't think they are. During the journey, Tahoe worked on his device. It was designed to create very low sound waves. If the Ravager used infrasound to hunt, maybe Tahoe could use similar sounds to confuse it. Juwu slept for a while, but Tahoe was too excited to sleep. He thought about the alien professors who thought humans were weak. He thought about being classified as a prey species. It made him angry, but also determined. We'll show them what humans can do, he whispered to himself. The ship began to shake slightly. They were entering the atmosphere of Nexus 7. Soon, they would face the Ravager, the beast that had killed 9 alien researchers, the beast that no one could understand or stop. Tahoe wasn't afraid. He was ready. The ship landed with a soft bump. Taiho and Juwu waited in their hiding spot, listening to the sounds of the alien research team unloading equipment. After about an hour, the ship became quiet. "I think they've all gone to set up camp," whispered Juwu. "Let's go." They crawled out from behind the boxes. Their legs hurt from sitting so long. Taiho peeked out the cargo door. Outside was a forest with strange purple trees. The sky was a light green color. In the distance, he could see the alien research team setting up tents and equipment. "Ready?" he asked Juwu. She nodded. "Ready." They walked toward the camp. As they got closer, an alarm sounded. 3 aliens ran toward them, holding weapons. "Stop!" shouted one of them. Then he recognized Taho. "Professor Kim, what are you doing here?" Before Taho could answer, Professor Selmak rushed over. His gray face turned almost white with shock. "Humans? Here." He looked at the guards. "Take them to my tent. Now." Inside Selmak's tent, the alien professor paced back and forth. His 4 arms waved in anger. "This is unacceptable. How did you get on the ship? Do you have any idea how dangerous this is?" "We wanted to help," said Taho calmly. "I have studied the Ravagers' hunting patterns. I think I understand." "Understand?" Zelnak's voice rose higher. "You understand nothing. The Ravager has killed 9 researchers with far more advanced brains than yours." Juwu stepped forward. "Then send us back. Call another ship." Zelnak stopped pacing. "We cannot. The next supply ship comes in 2 weeks. We need these samples sooner." "Then let us help," said Taho. "What do you have to lose?" Zelnak stared at them for a long time. Finally, he sighed. "Very well. But you will stay in camp. You will not leave without permission. You will not join any research teams. Understand?" Taho and Juwu nodded. Over the next day, Taho watched how the aliens worked. They used fancy machines to scan the forest. They wore special suits that could make them invisible for short times. They carried weapons that could stun most creatures. But they were still afraid of the Ravager. "Why don't they just set traps?" Juwu asked as they helped set up the camp kitchen. "Their technology is so advanced, they've forgotten simple solutions," said Taho. That night, the first research team returned to camp. They looked scared. One was limping. "What happened?" asked Selnak. "The Ravager found us," said the team leader. "We lost all our samples and equipment. We barely escaped." "Did you see it?" asked Taho. The aliens looked at him with surprise, as if they had forgotten he was there. "Yes," said one alien with blue fur. "It came from nowhere. Our sensors did not detect it until too late." "What did it look like?" asked Taho. "Large, 4 legs, sharp teeth, very fast." The alien shuddered. It moved like water between trees. That night, Taho couldn't sleep. He sat outside his tent, looking at the strange stars above. Juwu joined him. "Thinking about the Ravager?" she asked. "Yes. From what they described, it sounds like a big cat from Earth, maybe like a tiger or jaguar, but much bigger and smarter," said Juwu. "Yes, but all predators have patterns. They all have weaknesses." Taho showed her his device. "I've been working on this. It makes very low sounds. Sounds that humans can't hear, but the Ravager might. You think that will stop it? Not stop it. Confuse it. Maybe make it think prey is somewhere else." Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded through the camp. Everyone ran out of their tents. A voice came over the speakers. "Research Team V is under attack. They are trapped in Sector 7. Professor Selmak rushed past, giving orders. "Prepare the rescue shuttle. We need to reach them before the Ravager does." Taho grabbed Juwu's arm. "This is our chance. Let's go help." But Selnak said, "I know what he said, but if my ideas work, we could save those researchers." They ran to where the rescue team was preparing a small shuttle. But as they got there, a technician shouted, "The engine is damaged. It won't fly." Zelnak looked desperate. "We cannot reach them in time on foot. It's too dangerous." Tahoe stepped forward. "I can go. On foot." Everyone turned to stare at him. "That is suicide," said Zelnak. "No," said Tahoe. "That is what humans do. We help others, even when it's dangerous." Zelnak's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "I forbid it. I absolutely forbid it." Tahoe looked at Juwu. She nodded slightly. "Sometimes," said Tahoe, "you have to ignore the professor's warning." And with that, he turned and ran toward the forest, ignoring Zelnak's shouts behind him. Tahoe ran through the purple forest. The strange plants gave off a soft glow in the dim light. He carried only a small pack with his sound device, some water, and a basic first aid kit. "Professor Kim, stop." Zelnak's voice came through the small radio on Tahoe's belt. "You will die out there." "I'll be fine," Tahoe replied. "Just tell me where Team B is." After a moment of silence, Juwu's voice came on. "They're in a cave about 2 miles northeast of camp. I'm sending the map to your tablet." Tahoe looked at his tablet. A small red dot showed where the team was trapped. "Thanks, Juwu. I'll find them." As Tahoe moved deeper into the forest, he noticed strange things. The ground was soft and bouncy. The trees had no leaves, just purple tubes that seemed to breathe. Everything was quiet, too quiet. "Be careful," Juwu said through the radio. "Our sensors show the Ravager is in that area." Tahoe stopped and listened. Nothing. But he felt something. A very low sound that he could feel more than hear. Like the deep bass in music. "I think the Ravager is using infrasound," he whispered into the radio. "Very low sounds that travel through the ground." "What does that mean?" asked Juwu. "It means it can feel our footsteps," said Tahoe. "But I have an idea." He took off his boots and tied them around his neck. The ground was soft on his bare feet. He stepped very lightly, spreading his weight like he had learned while hiking in forests on Earth. "What are you doing?" asked Zelnak, who was listening. "Walking like a hunter, not like prey," said Tahoe. He moved slowly and carefully through the forest. When he felt the low vibrations in the ground get stronger, he froze and waited. Several times, he saw shadows moving between trees in the distance. The Ravager was hunting him. But Tahoe kept moving, using every trick he knew from Earth's predators. He stayed downwind. He moved from shadow to shadow. He made no sudden movements. After an hour, he reached the cave where Team B was trapped. 5 alien researchers huddled inside, looking terrified. "A human," one of them said in shock. "What are you doing here?" "Rescuing you," said Tahoe. "But we need to be quiet. The Ravager is nearby." "We cannot leave," said the team leader, a tall alien with 6 arms. "The beast is waiting outside. It knows we are here." Tahoe peeked out of the cave. In the shadows about 50 yards away, he saw movement. 2 glowing yellow eyes watched the cave entrance. The Ravager. "It's been waiting for us to come out," whispered one researcher. "Our weapons don't work on it." Tahoe studied the beast from the safety of the cave. It was large, about the size of a bear, but shaped more like a big cat. Its skin changed colors to match its surroundings. No wonder the alien sensors couldn't detect it. "I have a plan," said Tahoe, "but I need your help." He took out his sound device and made some adjustments. "This makes infrasound. Very low sounds. I think the Ravager uses these sounds to find its prey." "What will you do?" asked one of the aliens. "Create a distraction," said Tahoe. He picked up some leaves and sticks and quickly made several small bundles. "Your bodies give off heat, right? The Ravager can probably sense that too." Tahoe worked quickly, wrapping the small bundles in his spare shirt. "These will seem like small animals to the Ravager. When I throw them, they'll move like prey." "That will not work," said the team leader. The beast is too smart. We'll see, said Tahoe. He turned on his sound device and set it to create a pattern of vibrations like running footsteps. When I say go, we all run toward the camp. Don't stop, don't look back. The aliens looked doubtful, but nodded. Tahoe took a deep breath. He threw the first bundle far to the right of the cave. It landed with a soft thump and rolled down a small hill, disturbing the ground just like a running animal would. The Ravager's head turned sharply. It started moving toward the bundle. Tahoe threw another bundle to the left. The Ravager hesitated, looking back and forth between the two moving targets. Now, Tahoe shouted, "Run!" They all burst from the cave, running as fast as they could toward the camp. Behind them, Tahoe heard a roar of anger. The Ravager had realized the trick. "Keep going," Tahoe shouted. They ran through the forest, the sounds of the Ravager crashing through the trees behind them. Just when Tahoe thought they wouldn't make it, the lights of the camp appeared ahead. They burst into the clearing, guards rushing forward with weapons ready. The crashing sound stopped at the edge of the forest. The Ravager wouldn't enter the open area. Everyone stared at Tahoe in disbelief, especially Professor Zelmak. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you escape the Ravager?" Tahoe, breathing hard, managed a small smile. Sometimes, old tricks work better than new technology. News of Tahoe's success spread quickly through the camp. The aliens looked at him differently now. Some with respect, others with curiosity. That evening, Professor Zelmak called a meeting in the main tent. All the researchers gathered around, with Tahoe and Juwu sitting off to one side. "Professor Kim," said Zelmak, his voice more polite than before, "please explain how you rescued Team B." Tahoe stood up. The Ravager hunts using methods similar to Earth predators. It uses low sounds, infrasound, to track its prey. It also senses heat and movement. He showed them his sound device. This makes infrasound patterns that confuse the Ravager, made it think prey was in different places. "But our sensors should have detected such sounds," said one researcher. "Your sensors look for things you expect to find," said Tahoe. "Sometimes you miss simple things because you're looking for complex ones." The young alien scientist, Dury, was at the meeting too. "I would like to work with Professor Kim to study the Ravager's hunting methods." Zelmak hesitated, then nodded. "Very well, but no one leaves camp without protection." Over the next 2 days, Tahoe and Dury tested his theories. They set up small recording devices at the edge of the forest to capture the Ravager's sounds. "Look at this pattern," said Tahoe, showing Dury the sound waves on a screen. "It's almost like a heartbeat." "The Ravager is communicating?" asked Dury, eyes wide. "No, I think it's sending out sound waves and feeling what comes back. Like bats on Earth, but with much lower sounds." Juwu joined them, carrying some equipment she had been fixing. "I found something strange while mapping the camp area." She showed them her tablet. "There are old stone structures about half a mile from here. They look man-made, or well, alien-made." "Ruins?" Tahoe looked surprised. No one mentioned ruins. "The database has no record of civilization on Nexus 7, said Dury, blinking rapidly. The three of them brought their discovery to Zelmak. "Ruins? Impossible," said the professor. But when Juwu showed him the scans, he couldn't deny it. "We must investigate. I will organize a team." "I think the ruins might tell us something about the Ravager," said Tahoe. "Maybe the people who lived here knew how to deal with it." The next morning, a team of 6 researchers, including Tahoe, Juwu, Dury, and Zelmak, set out to explore the ruins. Everyone wore protective gear and carried stun weapons. Tahoe also brought his sound device. The ruins were simple stone buildings, mostly crumbled. They were arranged in a circle, with a larger building in the center. "This was a settlement," said one researcher, examining the stones. "Very old." Tahoe noticed something strange. "These walls have holes in them. See the pattern? They're all the same size and shape." Juwu looked closer. You're right. They look like they were made on purpose. They entered the central building. Inside, they found carved pictures on the walls. They showed tall, thin creatures living alongside animals that looked like the Ravager. They lived with the Ravager. Duri seemed shocked. How is that possible? Tahoe studied the carvings carefully. Look here, these holes in the walls. They're in the carvings too. Zelnak ran his scanner over the holes. They were designed to catch wind, to make sounds. Suddenly, Tahoe understood. The people who lived here used sound to communicate with the Ravager. These buildings are like giant musical instruments. The wind would make different sounds depending on which way it blew. So the Ravager wasn't their enemy, said Juwu. They found a way to live with it. Back at camp, Tahoe explained his theory to the whole team. The Ravager uses infrasound to hunt, but it also responds to certain sound patterns. The ancient people here use those sounds to keep the Ravager away from their homes. That's why it stays away from our camp, said Duri. Our generators make sounds that it doesn't like. Professor Selnak looked thoughtful. This changes our understanding. Perhaps we can use sound to keep it away while we collect samples. Maybe, said Tahoe. But I think there's more to learn from the Ravager. I think it's smarter than we realize. What do you mean? Asked Selnak. I mean, said Tahoe, that sometimes the best way to understand a predator is to meet it on its own terms. Selnak's 4 eyes widened. You cannot be suggesting. Yes, said Tahoe. I want to get closer to the Ravager, to observe it properly. Absolutely not, said Selnak. I forbid it. But Tahoe had seen something in the carvings that the others had missed. A small figure, shaped like the ancient people, standing face to face with the Ravager. Not fighting, not running, meeting. That night, a huge storm hit the camp. Wind and rain battered the tents. Lightning flashed across the green sky. Everyone stayed inside, but Tahoe couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the carvings in the ruins. In the morning, the storm had passed, but it left much damage. Trees had fallen on the equipment. The main research tent was destroyed, along with all the samples they had collected. This is a disaster, said Zelnak, looking at the ruined camp. We have lost everything. We will have to start over. The extraction ship comes in 3 days, said one researcher. We won't have time to collect enough samples. Tahoe watched the aliens argue about what to do. Then he made a decision. I can get more samples, he said. I can track the Ravager to its territory and collect what we need. Zelnak turned to him. Absolutely not. I have already forbidden this. We need those samples, Tahoe argued. People are sick and dying. These plants could help them. It is too dangerous, said Zelnak. For you, maybe, said Tahoe, but maybe not for a human. Jumu pulled Tahoe aside. Are you crazy? You barely escaped the Ravager last time. I wasn't trying to understand it last time, said Tahoe. I was just trying to escape it. But now I think I know how to approach it. Jumu looked into his eyes. She saw he would not change his mind. Then I'm coming with you. No, said Tahoe. I need you here. I need someone who can guide me back if I get lost. Reluctantly, Jumu agreed. She helped Tahoe pack a bag with water, food, and basic tools. He took his sound device and a small knife. No guns or fancy technology. Just before sunrise the next day, Tahoe slipped out of camp. Jumu gave him a communicator. Be careful, she said. I'll be tracking you from here. Tahoe headed deep into the forest, following the tracks of the Ravager that he had learned to recognize. The 3-toed prints led him to a river with purple water. I'm at a river, he told Juwu through the communicator. The tracks follow it upstream. Our scans show a large cave system about 2 miles ahead, said Juwu. The Ravager might live there. Tahoe followed the river. The forest became thicker, with strange plants that moved when he got close. He kept alert, watching for any sign of the Ravager. Then he felt it. the deep vibration in the ground that meant the Ravager was near. His heart beat faster, but he kept walking. "Tahoe, what's happening?" asked Juwu, hearing his quick breathing. "It's near," he whispered. "I can feel it watching me." "Get out of there," she urged. "No, this is what I came for." Tahoe stopped in a small clearing. He turned slowly, looking in all directions. Then he saw it, the Ravager, standing at the edge of the trees. It was beautiful and terrifying. Its body was like a big cat but larger, with 6 legs instead of 4. Its skin shifted colors like a chameleon. Its yellow eyes watched him with clear intelligence. "I see it," Tahoe whispered into the communicator. "Run," shouted Juwu. "No," said Tahoe. "I'm going to try something." Back at camp, the aliens gathered around Juwu's screen, watching through the small camera on Tahoe's communicator. They saw the Ravager step into the clearing. "He is dead," said Selnak sadly. "No one can survive that close to the Ravager." But Tahoe didn't run. Instead, he did something strange. He stood tall, making himself bigger. He spread his arms wide and made a low sound in his throat. The Ravager stopped. It tilted its head, as if confused. Most prey ran away. This creature was not running. Tahoe slowly reached for his sound device. He turned it on, creating the pattern of sounds he had found in the ruins. Sounds that meant peace, not fear. The Ravager's ears twitched. It took a step forward, then stopped. Tahoe stood his ground. He looked directly into the creature's eyes, something prey never did with predators. "I see you," said Tahoe quietly. "I respect you." For a long moment, they stood facing each other, man and beast. Then, slowly, the Ravager lowered its head, not in submission, but in recognition. At the camp, the aliens watched in silent amazement. "Impossible," whispered Selnak. Time seemed to stop in the clearing. Tahoe and the Ravager stood facing each other. Neither moved. The only sound was the soft hum of Tahoe's device. At the camp, everyone watched through Tahoe's camera. No one spoke. No one even breathed. "What is he doing?" whispered Duri. "I don't know," said Juwu, "but I think it's working." On the screen, they saw the Ravager take a step to the side. Tahoe did the same, moving in a slow circle. They were like dancers, each watching the other with careful eyes. "He's showing respect," said Juwu suddenly, "like how wolves greet each other. Not challenging, not submitting." Tahoe kept his eyes on the Ravager. He remembered the carvings in the ruins. The ancient people of this planet had not feared the Ravager. They had understood it. Slowly, the Ravager turned and walked a few steps away. Then it looked back at Tahoe, as if asking him to follow. "I think it wants me to go with it," Tahoe said softly into his communicator. "Don't do it," said Selnak's voice. "It's leading you into a trap." But Tahoe felt something different. The Ravager could have attacked him at any time. Instead, it was showing him something. He followed. The Ravager led him through the trees to a small valley. Here, strange plants grew with glowing blue fruits. These were the plants with the healing compounds the expedition needed. "It's showing me the plants," said Tahoe in wonder. "How could it know what we want?" asked Selnak. "Maybe it doesn't," said Tahoe. "But it's showing me its home, the important parts of it." The Ravager sat down at the edge of the valley, watching Tahoe. Carefully, Tahoe began to collect samples of the plants, putting them in his bag. He took only what he needed, not too much. When he was done, he took out a small package of food he had brought with him. He opened it and set it on the ground, then stepped back. "What are you doing now?" asked Juwu. "Saying thank you," said Tahoe. The Ravager sniffed the air. Slowly, it approached the food and ate it. Then it looked at Tahoe again, its yellow eyes seeming to see deep into him. "I understand now," said Tahoe. "It's not just a beast. It's the guardian of this place." As the sun began to set, Tahoe knew he had to return to camp. He bowed slightly to the Ravager, then slowly backed away. The creature watched him go, but did not follow. Back at camp, everyone was waiting for him. When he walked into the clearing, there were gasps of relief. "You're alive," said Jiwoo, running to hug him. "And I have the samples," said Tayo, holding up his bag. "More than enough." Professor Zelnak approached him slowly. "What you did today, it was remarkable. No one has ever communicated with the Ravager before." "Because no one tried," said Tayo. "You all saw it as a monster to be avoided. I saw it as a creature to be understood." That night, as the extraction ship prepared to take them back to the academy, Taho wrote his report. He described how the Ravager used infrasound to communicate, how it protected its territory, and how it seemed to recognize respect when shown it. "Will you come back to Nexus 7? Asked Duri. "Yes," said Tayo. "There's so much more to learn. The Ravager is just the beginning." On the journey back to the academy, Professor Zelnak sat next to Tayo. "I have sent a message ahead," he said. "I have recommended that humans be reclassified in our database." "Oh," said Tayo. "Not prey anymore?" "No," said Zelnak. "Category 1 adaptive species. Your ways are different from ours, but no less valuable. Perhaps even more valuable in some cases." Taho smiled. "We've been adapting since our earliest days on Earth. It's what humans do best." When they arrived at the academy, everything had changed. The other aliens no longer avoided Taho and Jiwoo. They asked questions, eager to learn about human ways of thinking. The academy created a new department, terrestrial methodologies. Taho was made its head, with Jiwoo as his assistant. "Not bad for a Category 3 prey species," joked Jiwoo as they set up their new office. Taho looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there was Nexus 7, and the Ravager. Not a monster, but a being with its own intelligence and dignity. "Sometimes," he said, "you have to ignore the warning and face the beast. That's how you discover it was never really a beast at all."